In this video, I'll be talking about the gap year, specifically between high school and college, and addressing some of the issues around there. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I did a gap year and I saw others. And then, of course, as a parent and a teacher, I'm seeing more young people choosing a whole variety of options they're going to do after high school. We'll talk about that. And then we'll address some of the things that make this time very, very successful. So the first thing I want to get out of the way is that it's traditionally called a gap year. People know it as a gap year. But listen, gaps are things we fall through. We don't want to be falling through here. If we have high school here and we have other phase in life, college or career or whatever over here, we don't want to fall through the gap. We're going to call it a bridge year because we're going to have time to move from one phase of life, high school, and go forward, landing in another phase of life, ready for success, so that everything will come together. So let's call it a bridge year. We'll try to stick to that terminology, even though people call it a gap, but we don't want to fall through the gap for sure. So here that is. Now, first, I was promised I was going to tell you about me. When I was in high school, I knew I wanted to go to college, but I wanted to take time. Sometimes this is a good time to do other things, find out what you want to do, or just take a breather academically. You could be pushing real hard through high school, or hate the academics, need a break, we need a breather. That happens all the time in life. So what I did is I went to Up With People. Yep, okay, cue the music. Singing and dancing, all that kind of stuff. It's around still. It's still an option. You could choose it if you want. That's what I decided to do. I was pretty young, but it helped me decide and learn about myself, get ready for college, grow up a little bit. I was there. I was one of the youngest members of the cast traveling, and that really it was a total different experience than I had in college because I went to college for engineering. So singing and dancing Up With People, traveling, staying in host families, getting all that experience was so much different, and it really added to where I am now. So that's always an option. And I did see other people choose things, and now as a teacher and a parent, I see people choose things. So let's talk about this. I think it's great. I did it. It's a great idea. But the drawback can be, of course, if you don't have a plan for this bridge and a plan for the phase of life on the other side. Frequently, people will say, I'm totally burnt out on high school, or I'm totally burnt out on academics, and I just want to take a year off. Taking a year off, hanging out with your friends is just not very conducive to future success or going towards the goals that you want. A lot of people do that. They look back and they say, oh, I stalled out. I didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. And so I'm encouraging you. We're going to go through some steps to make this process successful, and I'm encouraging you as students and you as parents and teachers to get together as a team and come up with a really good, solid plan. The first part of our plan needs to be visioning. That's always what people say start with for a plan, okay? Visioning. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be on the other side of this? What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do with your life? What are your interests? And so visioning is part of that, to think about what would you like to do with this time in between? What would you like to do with this time over here? And then once we have a vision, we need to actually make a strategic plan. The plan needs to involve both this bridge year and the phase of life afterwards. We could make a bridge. We don't want a gap where we fall through. We also don't want a bridge where there's nothing on the other side, where we just fall off the end either. We need a plan to come back to start with. So this is where we need to think strategically about what are the options? What are your interests? What do you like to do? there's all kinds of ideas. You can travel in your bridge year. You can do other academics. You could learn a language. You can go on missionary work. You could do an internship. Now, some people graduate and say, I'll just earn a little money and then figure out what to do. And that, again, needs a plan. It just can't be hanging out with my friends, earning some money, hoping for the best. It's got to be a plan. And an internship that's great. That would be a bridge year into a career or an entrepreneurship, that sort of thing. So we have to come up with a plan. Now, also, we have to come up with a plan for this side. We don't have to know exactly everything, but here's the key. We need a landing point. For me, I went and applied to college. And so even if you haven't applied yet, go to your college and apply, get in, and then defer so that you have a landing point on this side if that's your plan. And you can always do that. So we need, as part of this bridge year, we might also, and this other part, we need some deciding what to do. We might need some funding. We might need to be saving up money or fundraising or getting those processes started. Also, there might be, as I said, applications or paperwork, other steps to take, and we need to decide on those. Now, the last part that I want to talk about is while you're doing your gap year, you go out, you enjoy it. That's great. But here's the last part. I want you to document it. And I don't mean like throw up some crazy videos on Facebook of you and your friends hanging out or doing whatever. Facebook is a great tool. Use it wisely. Put up pictures of you doing really great work, documenting where you've been, what you've done, who you've seen, the things you've learned, how you've grown. That's Facebook would be fine. The other point to documenting it is that just writing some notes, taking some pictures, writing some notes about the skills you've learned or the things you've done to help you so that when you get done and you get to your next phase in life, the next phase is also going to be building on what you have done already, and you'll be still headed again into another phase to make all that successful and to be able to represent what you've done, what you've learned, make that year valuable and be able to articulate that value to your college or your employer or your customers, whatever down the line. Have it documented. It's really hard after a whole fun year to go back years later and think about what I actually did and what I learned and to portray that. So while you're in the process, document it. That also works for the next phase. So if you're thinking about this is a realistic option for you. I hope that you can make a plan, do some visioning, make a plan, and document it while you're there because it can be really, really successful.